Hey guys, welcome to the Canada Puck Podcast, your weekly recap of what's going on in the world of sports, specifically hockey, and even more specifically just in Canada. So all the best hockey teams, essentially, we talk about. I'm your co-host, Mick, joined every episode by my lovely and talented co-host,
Grant, on Twitter, at Fourth Line Sports. Feels good, Saturdays, there's snow on the ground, college football season's effectively behind us, playoff push in the NFL. This is the time of year where we dedicate more and more energy, start dedicating more and more energy towards NHL. Betting, following along, playoff races, all of it. Very excited.
Oh, we were falling behind, and there was a part. We've been trying to record since Wednesday. We just kept having life happen. And there was a part of me where I was like, I don't know if I have anything to say. This might be a fast show. If there was a week to skip, this is the best week to skip. Not a lot of action in hockey, and you're right. There's so many other things kind of going on in the secular world. Falls by the wayside, so.
The thing that kind of hurts the most is, and the NHL, for whatever reason, they always fucking get this wrong, man. First Saturday without college football, and instead of just hammering a fucking 15-game slate with all the best rivalry matchups down our throats, gagging style, we've got maybe 8 games, 10 games. There's a whole bunch of interconference stuff. Nothing really gets me excited about tonight's slate.
Yeah.
How do they get this wrong every fucking time?
Historically, if there's a blank slate somewhere in October, baseball playoffs are starting on Wednesday, and there's nothing on Tuesday, man, you better believe hockey's starting on Wednesday. Oh boy. That was like a decade ago I heard that conversation. So they're just, I don't know. They probably don't pay attention to any other sports, and they're like, we're hockey, we're better.
But is this the reason they're falling behind? Is this why we don't talk about the NHL in the same light as NFL?
Yeah, it's promotion. 100%. What's the difference? I think hockey's a better game. And all football and basketball is just promotion of stars, right? The on-ice product, making weird random in-season tournaments that get people fired up. We got to give LeBron some other championship or something like that, right? All these other leagues have it figured out, whereas hockey, they're I don't know how we make money off this thing. It's a good idea. Have you ever watched that sketch show, I Think You Should Leave?
I don't think I have.
Okay, well, there's a skit on it where this guy has this window decal, and it's this fedora with this cigar, and he'll go like this as he's driving, and he calls it the driving crooner. And he's like, I own it. It's my website, thedrivingcrooner.com. It's such a good idea. I just got to make money off of it somehow. I feel like that's what the NHL office at most days. They're just this is such a good idea, this sport. If only we can make money off of it.
Yeah, I like that analogy. And it feels like they're more and more missing the mark with everything, kind of tone-deaf games. And I remember when marketing used to be... Remember that old commercial where the Ovechkin was ordering Crosby room service, the Sedin twins show up as these sexy... that was probably the golden age of NHL marketing. Mm-hmm. And it's gone, downhill ever since.
Oh, that's it. It is one of those things where once in a while I'm like, who are the stars of this league? Is it just McDavid? Am I that blind where it's just McDavid and Matthews and that's it? That's all we have for star power in the NHL? TV won't tell you. Pepperidge Farm might tell you, though.
Yeah. Oh, man. There's got to be a good sausage joke in there somewhere. But I agree. They expect the players to do the heavy lifting, and in Canada especially, the only names that we're fed are Matthews and McDavid. That's it. Sad state of affairs in the NHL.
That's it. As always. Well, yeah, all right. Where do we want to go with that? So, this is your first show. Welcome. We're going to run through some headlines. We've got a Puck Doku challenge. We're going to give you some gambling advice. Maybe look at some boobs. Be a nice little Saturday morning. So, I think what we'll do is we'll start... We're not going to make fun of the NHL.com fantasy projection lineup. That was one of my favorite activities last year, but I'll hold off. I'll reserve because I also am terrible at it. So, ye who lives in a glass house.
Okay, whatever. I don't care if if I soak a glancing blow from one of your rocks, and that's okay. But as bad as we were, the NHL.com was somehow worse. And these are people who get paid for their opinions.
And lots of times I was throwing darts at a board, so probably what they were doing. But I'm at the standings. I reverse formatted. We're going to work our way up. We're going to see when we see Canadian teams. So at 31, I don't see anyone. Anaheim Ducks at 30 and the Senators at 29. Oh, yes. The lovely, lovely woe is us. Senators, what's going on? Since last week, they've lost to Columbus. They beat Seattle. They beat the Rangers. And then they lost to the Leafs. So with the Red Wings on tap for tonight.
It feels like this team's going to be the next team to fire their head coach. I don't know what's going on in Ottawa. It is not working, and I think, as is the case with many young teams, you get to a point where the coach's voice just stops echoing in the room, and it's just time to move on. You know who they should hire is Jay Woodcroft. Jay Woodcroft had a fucking tremendous track record in Edmonton, and also, I would say, has earned a reputation for getting the most out of young rosters. We saw him excel in the AHL. He got the most out of the Oilers for a year and a half before this season kind of fell apart on him. Jay Woodcroft could be out of a job for a very short amount of time. I think that he's the guy who the Ottawa should be targeting as a next head coach.
That's amazing. I have no rebuttal. That was absolutely perfect.
I fucking love a good old school reference. Oh my God. For those of you who missed that, Mick is a fucking artist when it comes to the soft reference. Love it.
That's it. That's perfect. If they don't hire Jay Woodcroft, they're the worst run franchise ever, and they should sell and go somewhere in the States, because that's it. That's the perfect answer. Huh.
Yeah, no disrespect to DJ Smith or whatever. But one thing that always gets me going about the Senators, you know what, we don't even have to get into that. I like their jerseys. We want to cheer for them. We keep fucking having these conversations where it's like, let's make us like you, Ottawa, and they just can't do it. They just fucking can't do it for whatever reason.
Now, there's still lots of season left. Like, we're not going to be all doom and gloom here, but things in Ottawa aren't looking great, hanging out around the bottom of the league at this point, right? We're quarter way through the season, and you're in the bottom. That means you have to have a hell of a 3/4 left of the season, right? Like, you got to pick up the pace, step on it. Now, also, they're not dead to rights just yet, right? So still lots of ice to go. Let's see. Then we got Seattle, 28. How the mighty have fallen. Apparently expansion teams don't do so well. Then the Oilers, what? 25. They also were terrible. Edmonton Oilers, what's going on? I feel like they're on a win streak?
6 in a row as of last night, I believe.
Yeah, since we last spoke, looks like they beat the Hurricanes and they beat the Wild. Good for them. We get the Devils tomorrow.
They're not close. They're not close with respect to the standings yet, but 6 wins in a row definitely helps your cause. They're going to have to continue to chisel away. They're going to have to go on extended win streaks like this to get back into the playoff picture. The one thing that they do have going for them is that they've only played 24 games, albeit a heavy percentage of which have been on home ice. So we know what the Oilers can do at home, where we've seen them struggle. Even last year, during their record-setting year, they still struggled on the road. But hopefully this is a sign of for things to come. And it kind of harkens you back to when they traded for Matthias Ekholm, and all of a sudden they went 17-3-2 or whatever. It feels like this is the on-ice product that we're getting more recently. And even with suboptimal goaltending, they're still winning games.
Well, and I've seen some reports, too, of just the health is in question. Like Ekholm, McDavid, they haven't been the healthiest. And this is kind of like a show pony team, right? Like, if your best horses aren't going, you're not going, right? Like, you can't kind of run without them. So if the health was in question, especially for like 2 of their impact players, that's gonna make a big difference. Those guys come together, it's right in the ship. Again, lots of season left here. So, and health's important, and I'd rather have players have like health questions in early December than April, right? So get it out of the way now, and hopefully guys can stay healthy. And
yeah, if they can, injuries are always a fucking hard thing to navigate. And the thing that kind of chaps my ass is we often see teams force their players into, maybe not force their players, maybe it's a desire, maybe it's like, I want to be here, I want to help this team, I'm a part of this team. And that's probably the case with guys like McDavid and Ekholm. And I'm not super fond of cross-sport references all the time, but if we link this back to, oh God, why is this escaping me? Last Kenny Pickett, it was the Steelers' Kenny Pickett. They had this concerns about his health. He went and played, and now he's gone for the rest of the season. And it's fucking Mitch Trubisky who has to cover for him now. Steelers season is all but over. That is perfectly analogous to what would happen if McDavid went down with this. If they're getting him into this position where they're forcing him, or he wants to force himself to play, things get worse. He's gone. Draisaitl's not performing. He is not thriving under their new head coach. The metrics are in order, but if the second guy in line is kind of like tepid at best, and your top guy goes down, there's only so much the Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Zach Hyman's of the world can do. So anyways, protect McDavid at all costs, Oilers. Don't be stupid about this.
There you go. And I guess on that note, too, you did mention that there's less. If you're looking at the games played list, Oilers are on the light side at 24. Like the Blue Jackets, 29. They've got 5 kind of games in hand against those guys. Same with the Senators, only at 21. So they actually still have 3 games in hand over the Oilers. So there's a chance they're jumping up the standings, right? So it's kind of screwy, especially when you see these big divides in games played at this early part of the season. That's why I think football's a little bit nicer too and cleaner, because everyone's records are like outside of a bye. They're kind of right there. But that we got through the 2 bottom teams, guys. That means we get to do the Puck Doku Challenge. So let's see. Is it going to be Oilers and like Team Canada from whenever Grant was born? That sounds like probably the categories. What we do is we play golf style. So we each get 3 turns, have to pick 1 player per turn, and we're going for the lowest percentage guess. So along the horizontal axis, we have horizontal. That's up and down. All right, cool. Winnipeg Jets, Florida Panthers, and the San Jose Sharks. And across the vertical, which is the top, we got Red Wings, Penguins, and Predators. What a glorious, glorious list we have here.
Oh, God. This is a fucking unadulterated mess.
Yes, it is. Grant is the current champion. Last week, he beat me in 3 picks. In my 2 picks, I had 5%, and he had like 4%, so kudos. So the fact that he's like waffling already, I got him right where I want him. I will give Grant the honors. He can go first.
Okay, first one that came to mind, obviously coming from a place of an Oilers fan. I'm worried that it's gonna be a higher percentage, not not mind-blowing like 20% where I'm automatically almost first out, but I wouldn't be surprised if this guy hits double digits. Edmonton Oilers golden boy, 8 points in one night, 3 stints with the team, 4 stints with the team now. Sam Gagner spent time both with the Detroit Red Wings and Winnipeg Jets.
All right. Samuel Gagner. Look at that. Let's say 9%. That's pretty good.
I knew it was going to be high. Maybe I should have invested a little bit more thought. Anyways, I digress.
I mean, there's not a lot of things I'm looking on this list, and I'm like, oh, that's the obvious answer. So, like, 9% might be a winner right now. Like, I have a couple I'm not even sure on, to be perfectly honest with you. Like, I'm going to take a couple swings here and go for some things, but, like, I feel not confident about anyone. I think maybe I'll go easy 9%. I can roll with it. I'm also going to do Winnipeg Jets, more like the Atlanta Thrashers, and I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Penguins. I'm going to go with my boy Cheese. I need me some Colby Armstrong.
That's a good pick.
12%.
12% for Colby Armstrong. That guy played like fucking 3 seasons in the NHL.
Yep, that's sure.
Oh, God.
All right. So Grant is clubhouse leader by 3% right now, which means we have to go back to the standings, though, and talk about 2 more crappy teams. That's right, you're all crappy until we get to, like, the top 3. 23, okay. I was going to stand up for the Montreal Canadiens, but Montreal, what's going on? They lost to the Flames Red Wings in overtime last week. Beat the Kraken on Monday, and then lost to the Kings 4-0 on Thursday.
I don't have any actually strong opinions on the Canadians these days. Passively following along, wondering what happens here and there. I noticed, other than them beating the Kraken this week, I haven't really been following along.
I said it, I kind of in jest at the beginning, like their biggest games are probably against the Bruins, the Leafs, and maybe like the Rangers or something, right? Like they probably have a couple of good home affairs. They can play spoilers, but really like kind of develop your players. See what's going on. Didn't they sign a goalie this week? Or was that last week? Didn't they give like Sam Montembeault like a multiple year deal?
You know what? This is how little I actually care about the Habs. I have no idea.
Oh, I assumed as the goalie connoisseur at the moment, you would be dialed right into where all the deals were and like the free agents.
You know, it's so funny you mentioned that because, like, I know we've talked about Immaculate Grid versus Puckduku. That is my default option. I always automatically think goalies. I don't know what it is. It kind of just, you know, as a former goalie, maybe that's what it is. I kind of have a soft spot.
I do goalies all the time. Like that Puckduku today, there's like 4 goalies. I was like, oh, that guy might work there. Hey, he might work there. Like that's the first one I always go to as well.
So anyways, yeah, Sam Monbo, if he did get paid, good for you. The Habs, obviously, rich franchise, and whatever it is, you haven't earned it. I promise you that much. Maybe he will, but he hasn't yet. We'll see where it all goes.
There you go. Let's keep that going. And, like, they're probably going to have a sweet pick this year. Was it Shane Wright? Was he the prospect 2 years ago that, like, glared at the Montreal Canadiens for not picking him first overall? On his way to the podium?
The Habs picked second that year, I think. Second or third. They went with Slafkovsky, that fucking Czech or Slovakian kid, whatever. Yeah. I can't remember now. But I don't actually, again, NHL drafts, other than knowing that it's sometime at the end of June.
Okay. All right.
Few fucks given, I will say.
All right. One of those stories that no one cares about. Not even me. And I brought it up, so I apologize to everyone. The Calgary Flames are 22. So this is why you're all crappy. Like, 22? That's terrible. Flames, what's going on? Last week, you lost to Vancouver at home. Oh, and then you lost to the Wild. That's embarrassing. But they beat the Hurricanes. That's exciting. And then you got the Devils this afternoon.
I am having such a hard time getting a read on the Flames because they are seemingly out of it, and then they come back with great performances. And this is coming from a very jaded place because every time I'm like, oh, yeah, momentum for the Flames. It's like, no, they continue to fall on their face. The fact that they're this far up the standings actually surprises me a little bit. I know they got 2 points on the Oilers, 2 games in hand, 2 games more played, so not a sterling record by any means, but can you look at this team and tell me I think they're going to win more games than they are? Or even more specifically, this is the time when you should bet on the Flames?
So I'm looking ahead at the schedule. So let's play that game just right now. So you get the Devils this afternoon. I know the Devils aren't world killers at any point, but they have a lot of talent on that squad. They get the Avalanche on Monday, followed by, and this is a road trip, I'm guessing. Then you're going to Vegas, so you're playing the Knights. Thursday you get the Wild, and then you get Tampa Bay at home next weekend, followed by Florida in your barn next Monday. That sounds like maybe you have a chance at 1, maybe 2 of those games. If you're lucky, 2. So going like 1-4 in your next 5 games. To answer your question, no, I cannot tell you that the Flames are going to do anything noteworthy.
Well, I think it's just, I guess at this point then I'm waiting for the implosion. I'm waiting for whatever it is, the catalyst that just forces this team to be like, actually, it's time to sell off everything and rebuild.
From what I've heard, just following various media sources, it sounds like that's kind of where they're trending, right? Like most of the D-men are kind of out of town. If the Lindholms aren't looking for a long-term deal, they're probably getting shipped out for parts. Jakob Markstrom, he's on the market, boys. If somebody wants a goalie, like, he's available. And you know what? He can play goalie. He has his own goalie equipment. So that's pretty impressive, right? You don't have to buy stuff for him.
Yeah, Lord knows some of the teams can't afford it in this league.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I want to play a hypothetical game with you then, Mick. What is it that causes this team to just say, fuck it, let's sell it all?
It's just like death by 1,000 cuts, right? Like having 1 win in the next 4 games, and having several parts of your schedule where that just happens, right? Like you might play 500 hockey for a little bit, but it's going to be the extended losing streaks, and eventually they'll get to a point where like, oh, we are done, right? But coming into a season, you don't know. You've got, $72 million left on this Huberdeau contract after the season. You probably need to make sure he can play hockey, right? Like you're trying to, I don't know, see if he can maybe find a spark, add something to the squad. So I think it's just like it's too early to blow things up in December, right? You probably need gate revenues until February.
They could make that money in pocket dogs if they played their cards right. But I think that it's a more colorful option. I think that during this Vegas trip, they go, Nazem Kadri comes to the rink a little hungover, and then the night gives them the wrong look, and then next Wednesday we're gonna see a tilt between Nazem Kadri and the Knight with his sword. The Vegas Golden Knights mascot. Yeah. And I bet you that's the embarrassment that causes the Calgary Flames to be like, actually, this is the only fight we've seen in a player all season, so we're going to keep Kadri, and then we're going to sell everybody else off.
See, I was being ridiculous with my answer. Obviously, that's probably what's going to happen. So
fighting a mascot, default mode.
Obviously. All right, so that means we're done. 2 more crappy teams, guys. Oh boy, we're back to the Pucktoku board. So Grant, with a 3% lead and so many choices, what's left?
I forgot to put your pick on the board here. I'm following along on my phone just so I can keep track here. Okay. So there's another name that immediately comes to mind. Florida, at least I think I got this right. I hope I got this right. This might be another popular one, though.
Okay.
Mark Stahl, I believe, has played with both the Florida Panthers and the Detroit Red Wings. I'm pretty confident. But again, if that is right, I'm assuming a lot of people are thinking that as well.
Mark with a C. Okay, cool. 15%. It's not bad. That's not bad. All right. I'm gonna go. This is this my limb reach? Maybe put some pressure on you for the next one. Maybe you make a mistake. Yeah, this is it. I gotta play defense here. All right. I'm gonna go Florida. Nashville. What? You're going Nashville? No one ever goes Nashville. That's right. No one ever thinks poor little Nashville. I'm gonna go to Grant's. Actually, I'm going to take his own strategy. I'm thinking goalies, world-renowned. I'm sure he won a game here or there. Chris Mason. I believe Chris Mason had a stint in both the Florida Panthers and with the Predators. So let's see. Chris Mason. Luckily, there's only one of them. Incorrect! Oh, well, that's a 50%er for me. That's a shame.
Okay, well, that takes a little bit of the pressure off because I saved my best for last.
Okay.
At least I think I saved my best for last, and I might roll the dice. Anyways, we'll figure it out. I'm giving it more thought.
Yeah, that's a big hit. Damn. All right, well, my other one, I only had like one other guess, so we'll see. That might be wrong as well. Grant with the commanding lead. That's too bad.
Well, we got another round here, so... We'll see. It's
true. You can make a flub. I'll get like a 2%er and win. Boom. Let's see. So we passed Pittsburgh. Speaking of the Penguins, the Devils, 19. Look at that. At 11. So we're past the teenage years. We're in the preteens, as they say. And we get to talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs on the eve of the Shohei Ohtani signing. Go Jays. We get to talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs, who lost to the Bruins in overtime and then did nothing, and then they beat the Senators on Thursday. So they got Preds tonight.
I don't think I've ever seen a city as excited as I saw yesterday with the Ohtani news. Oh. And I don't even know if it's been like officially confirmed, but it seems like a 99% certainty. Shohei Ohtani, look at your guys' lineup, man. Like you're going to lead off with Springer, Vlad, Ohtani, or Ohtani, Vlad, like Bichette. What the fuck, man? Like, oh god. So that's only top 4 hitters.
So I think they're just still finalists. It's like San Francisco, the 2 LA teams, and the Jays. I think that's where they're at. So, do I think that he will go to Toronto? Probably not. I can't imagine. Will he probably stay in the California somewhere? Yeah.
The dumpiest place I have ever been in my entire life is the Los Angeles Angels Stadium. And I have been to a handful. Like, I think that was my 12th MLB stadium. Whole bunch of NHL barns. A couple of NFL stadiums. Without question, the Angels Stadium is the fucking grossest place you could watch a professional sports game I have ever stepped in.
Ever been to a Dodgers game?
I have. Chavez Ravine. You kind of get caught up in the magic of Chavez Ravine. It's more lively. The knock on Chavez Ravine is like getting there, parking, getting. That's what forced Trey Turner out of town. He's like, "Fuck this! I hate being stuck in traffic 8 hours a day. Try and get to and from the stadium." Valid point, but like it's open air. You got sight lines all over the place, friendly atmosphere. The Angel Stadium's just a concrete slab in the middle of a fucking parking lot on the edge of town. Like, it's just like there's no appeal whatsoever.
Okay. All right. Well, I also hear there's lots of traffic in Toronto, so we'll see. That's why I wore my Jays hat. I thought it'd be a funny joke. I really don't have much on this team. I think Joseph Wall hurt his ankle, their goalie. So now they have to have their $3.5 million goalie come in and back up their rookie. What is this team to do?
I know I don't want to, go back to the same theme here, but is it time for the Leafs to move on from Sheldon Keefe? Has he lost this locker room?
They're hurt. Quite sick. Like when we were talking about health of teams earlier, their defense is absolutely just abysmal. They're missing 3 of their top 4 or 5 guys, right? They're missing what was looking like probably their better goalie option in Joseph Wall. So I think they're just struggling with health-wise. They're still, if you look at games played, I think they're pretty low. They've only played 23 games. When we get to the guys on the top, some teams have played 4 or 5 more games, and they're 4 or 5 points behind them. So they're an elite pace, right? They're top pace in the league.
This is my concern with the Leafs then. For the last 5 years, they have finished no worse than 7th in expected goals for rating. Yeah. So basically just assessing your team's probability of winning. This year they are 20th, and they're basically that 5-year average, I think it was around 54%. It's about 6% higher than where they're at right now. So a substantial deviation from what we've seen from similar squads from the Leafs in the past. And the only thing that personnel has remained mostly unchanged. Their offense is basically the exact same as it has been for the last few years. There have been some changes on defense, but at the same time, those changes shouldn't precipitate this substantial deviation. So
yeah.
For me, it was just coaching. I was like, is this a coaching thing?
And I think that's been brought up, and I've heard that mentioned in other kind of media outlets. But who's coming in? And I think even Treliving questioned it. He's like, sure, we'd absolutely, if there was a better option as a coach out there than Keefe, would make that change right now. But he's like, show me this coach. He's like, there isn't that option. So why we're not just going to do something and uproot this guy who's valuable to the organization, right? I think that's where they're at.
You know who sucks? Brad Treliving. This man, he fucking ruined the Flames, and now he's slowly taking the Toronto Maple Leafs down with him. I have never in my entire life before 3 years ago heard what a brilliant hockey mind Brad Treliving was. And then all of a sudden he's GM of the Flames. He sinks that franchise. Toronto's we want this brilliant hockey mind. And he sinks this franchise. Brad Treliving is not a hockey guy. Well, he is not what the savior people make him out to be.
They're 11th. We're 11th in the standings. They've got a game. How are they sunk?
Look at their analytics, Mick. They're fucking 20th in the league. They're giving up more chances than they're creating. Their Corsi rating is the worst that it's been in years.
The DNA of this team, though, is slow starters, right? If we go back and look, they were trading Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner before in October because of the slow start. They didn't really have a slow start, right? They've kind of come out of the gates. I don't know.
Watch this. Treliving's going to fuck up the Nylander situation, and by the end of next year, by the 2025 NHL draft, Brad Treliving will be unemployed. He will be serving you tacos at Taco Bell. I am that confident.
All right, cool. Taco Bell, where they really only have 5 ingredients, and they just put them in different orders, and they call them different names. So
meat-free since 1966.
There we go. So poor Toronto Maple Leafs, you're so terrible. Look at all these teams that are better than you. Detroit Red Wings with 2 games in hand. Oh, we should probably fire the GM. At 9, we've got Winnipeg Jets. Let's see, how did Winnipeg do? They lost to the Oilers at some point. Maybe last Thursday? Yeah, because I think we talked Wednesday. That makes sense. My calendar's not showing me November. Beat the Blackhawks on Saturday, and then they beat the Carolina Hurricanes. So the Hurricanes having a bit of a rough go here in Canada.
Yes, Carolina's trip's not off to the start they were hoping it would be. But the Jets, as usual, are just being buoyed by Connor Hellebuck. The guy has basically a 95% save percentage over the last I think it's 7 starts now. Not surprisingly, the Jets are 5-2 over that stretch. So this team, as is always the case, will go as far as Connor Hellebuck carries them. And this year, it's looking like that's going to be pretty far. But again, we've said this about Hellebuck in the regular season. It's really about timing this with him and making sure he's playing this welcome playoff time.
Yeah, that's it. I watched a little bit of the Blackhawks game last Saturday, just during the day while I was doing stuff. And yeah, like, I realized they were up. They had a bit of a lead in the third, but the confidence that he was showing in net on some of the saves, like, he was making some of the, I don't know, some of the most swaggerous, like, there was one that puck kind of came in and he just, like, lazily swatted it away. If you missed that, like there was no save percentage behind there. He was, like, throwing his elbows up. He was standing up. They wasn't giving no respect to the Chicago Blackhawks players. Maybe they don't deserve it, but, like, the swagger that he was showing, yeah, when he was all right. He's a good option. He's a good, as someone once told me, he'll be a great goalie for Team Canada one day. So all we have to do is just get him that Canadian citizenship, and that'll right our woes in that.
Yeah, I got nothing else on the Jets. Goaltending is in. You're right. If we could make him Canadian, honorary Canadian, kind of like Freddie Freeman. You know how we stole Freddie Freeman? Mm-hmm. We just got some Winnipeg floozy to steal Hellebuck's heart so he could play for Team Canada.
I'm sure we live in a golden age of butts. There must be someone with, like, a great butt in Winnipeg. Go do your Canadian duty. Come on, what are you doing?
Yeah, and if nothing else, just give us a Connor Hellebuck for 18 years, 20 years down the road, so we got something to look forward to. Stop being so selfish, you Winnipeg floozies.
There you go. Cool. So with that, I believe that means we're to the only one best team left. We have to wrap up our Puck Doku challenge. Grant is up. What is that? 3. I've got you by 3. You got me by 3 there. So you're up 6. I have 50. I'm not doing so well. Grant, what? Do you want to put the nail in the coffin here? So really, as long as you don't miss, you might win.
And this is a strategy. I don't know. So the name that I was thinking was Archer Zerbe. I was like, Archer Zerbe, I know he played in San Jose.
Okay.
I think he played in Detroit. And I don't think many people give Archer Zerbe a thought.
No.
But I don't know if he actually played in Detroit, the more I think of it.
All right. Yep, that'll sink you.
So I'm going to play it safe, and I'm going to leave the door open. Because there's one person who's probably at least in the 30s that will give you enough, space to try and make a play. Anyways, Erik Karlsson obviously played for the San Jose Sharks, played a few games with the Pittsburgh Penguins this year. Erik Karlsson, Sharks, Pittsburgh.
Erik Karlsson, 2009 to present, 28%. Are you? All right. So you're still... Do I still have a chance? No.
You got a bit of a shot. Hang on, let me just do some quick math here. No, never mind.
Yeah, no, I'm done.
You said 28%, correct?
Yeah. All right. Well, congratulations. You're so good at puck doki. You always beat me. The name I was thinking was Thomas Vokoun. That's the goalie I wanted. So I confused him and Chris Mason of where they ended up. So
what was Vokoun worth?
20%. So that would have made it more interesting. So that's my screw up. And I've definitely played that before where I'm like, did Vokoun play for St. Louis? But I think it was Chris Mason that played for St. Louis, and that we don't need to go into semantics. All right, so I need to make a guess. Anyone on the board? I don't know. I was going to take that spot. What would Bill Guerin have got me if I would have went Bill Guerin with that spot? Let's see. Bill Guerin. 2%. Damn it! I really should have went with taking that shark square earlier and not swung on the goalie. All right,
that's a hell of a pick. Good for you, man.
That's the content you don't get, people. So let's go with, I don't know. Let's do Florida, Pittsburgh. Stop wasting time and go with Patrick Hornquist.
I was going to say exactly that. Yep.
That seems like a pretty simple one. 18%. That's still not bad. Like, all in all. Let's say we want Thomas Vokoun there. And then does that where our squares stop? Thomas Vokoun. Nope. Vokoun is just not... Oh, good name to spell. 21%. Probably because I was guessing at home too. Single-handedly changing the game. Man, that's a strategy right there. Just like change my cash and just like drive up your percentages.
I'm gonna go back. Did we look into Archer Zerbe? Let's see if this guy actually did play.
Archer. I think we just. We gotta help a brother out.
It's Arturs, Arturs, IRBE.
Archer, ARTUS?
RS, ARTURS, Arturs.
Artur Zube. I don't see it anywhere.
That's okay. I got it up here.
Urbe? IRBE?
That's him, yeah. Anyways, he didn't play in Detroit.
No.
So, San Jose, Dallas, Vancouver, and Carolina, but no Detroit.
All right. So we got one shot left according to this game. Any of these other squares we could fill out? Isn't there like a predator and a shark that should be obvious?
Let's see here.
Did anyone useful play in Nashville? See, I think that's the problem. I don't think anyone did.
Nashville, Atlanta should also be.
Yeah, right? Like, it shouldn't be like there'd be someone somewhere that played.
So what was that kid's name? Scotty Upshaw. Scotty Upshaw spent some time.
Didn't Niederreiter? Isn't that like a pretty simple one?
Oh yeah, Niederreiter.
There, 43%. Okay, cool. Awesome. Yay, Pakdoku.
We made it.
We did it! Yay! So, first miss of the season. I'll be honest with you. It wasn't fun. It was very stressful. Made me hate my life, question my self-worth. It was great. Awesome. Go, Otani! All right, so going back to our standings, I think we have to find Vancouver. I don't know where they are. They're 5th. 35 points. They played 27 games. So if you can do the math, their lead is shrinking, which is surprising too, because like it seemed like some of these teams at the top got such big leads that was going to be insurmountable, right? Like Boston's start when they were like 11-0-1 or something like that. I was like, that's insurmountable. Everyone in that division, like the Panthers, the Red Wings, the Leafs, are all in striking distance of the Bruins. So I'm hoping that we don't see these kind of runaway affairs that we've seen in the past, and that we get some type of actual competition where we can like look at the standings late in the year and be like, oh wow, things are going to change, versus it kind of just feels like it becomes very stagnant.
You get to that point, if you get to that point early in a season where you're that far ahead, it doesn't necessarily correlate with like long-term success, but it does correlate with playoff appearance. And that's what's ultimately important for the Vancouver Canucks. Maybe they do hang on, maybe they do, keep things close with the Kings and Knights ahead of them and say make a run at some point later in the season. It seems unlikely. This team analytically just doesn't perform well. Thatcher Demko is a front runner for the Vezina this year, and that should tell you everything you need to know because he's standing right next to Connor Hellebuck. Goaltending has been the difference for this team, and whether they win or lose the division, whether they win or don't win the division, rather, doesn't really matter, because what's most important for Vancouver is that they get this young team to the playoffs with some meaningful experience. It's been, what, was it 2020 they made that run? Was it the bubble where they had a...
I want to say it was before the bubble, maybe 2019 or something?
Maybe that's what it was. Yeah, okay. And now you're 4 seasons without basically doing anything meaningful, and it's just time to get back there. So maybe the win Vancouver needs this year is just making the playoffs.
That's it. Yeah, as a franchise that hasn't been there for a while, you've got the young stars that you think are good, right? You believe are fine. The rest of the league doesn't acknowledge. You need them to step up on those big stages, because like I have to take that for granted. I don't know if you as well, but the other day I was thinking, I was just like I'm so blessed that I can sit here in a world and look at Mitch Marner and Matthews and Nylander, and like we can have these conversations like, well, they're 11th in standings, and be like upset by that. Versus I remember like the Jason Blake signing summer, where that was like the big deal. That was the big free agent get for, a franchise. And like, you ever think of that? Like, what a world you live in, where you get to look at the McDavids and the Dreisaitl's every year and just be like, get upset that they don't win a Stanley Cup. And you're not like, well, they missed the playoffs again for the 3rd time this year. Well, that sucks. Like getting to live in that emotion, getting to have that, like, it's kind of nice.
Maybe again, I hate doing this twice in one episode. Cross sports reference. You remember last year when everybody was shitting on the Jays for missing the playoffs?
Yeah.
And maybe that's what the Canucks. Maybe it's an analogous scenario to that, where this entire city is rooting for you to do something. You have seemingly all the pieces. You just can't fucking put it together. Yeah. Maybe this is the year that it all gets put together for the Canucks, and who knows? Getting out of the first round would be it would be monumental for the Canucks. It's probably not a win the city deserves, because we hate the Canucks. Sorry, Canucks apologists, all 12 of you. We don't care about you. Nobody does. But, if you make it to the second round.
Well, so far in the Canucks segment, we've told them their team is terrible. We shit on Thatcher Demko. I think at some point we were actually talking about the Bruins start of the season. So this is a pretty good segment for it being the best team and being the puck or the Canada Puck champion for the fourth week in a row at this point. Yeah, not a lot of respect. We need to put some respect on the name. You got to earn that respect, though. You got a tough affair against Carolina, who have been 0-4 in this Canadian road trip. Do I think things change tonight? Yeah, probably. You got Tampa, you got Florida at home this week, and then you're on a bit of a road trip. Now, you also go on a road trip and you play the Wild and the Blackhawks and the Predators and the Stars. So, like a 3-1 road trip, and you're like, wow, we beat some good teams. Oh, and then you get the Sharks at home next week. Like, man, at some point your schedule is going to get tough, Vancouver, and like we're going to find out who you are. But not yet. Let's keep throwing the San Jose Sharks for the 5th time this season. You should play these bottom-feeding teams more.
Yeah, good point. We talk about their easy start to the season, as if we needed another reason to shit all over the Canucks.
Earn it.
We'll take it. We're not going to pass up those opportunities.
Earn it. You go 3 in a row against these in theory playoff competing teams, right? Top 10 teams in the league, and the Carolinas, the Tampa Bays, and the Floridas. Next week, I will say something completely different about that, but I kind of feel like when the going gets tough, I don't know if this team gets going.
Yeah, I can't beat that. You're 100% right.
Cool. Wild cards. Look at this. Ooh, look at that. So fancy. So many good teams. And I think that's it for headlines. We kind of pooped on everybody, and then I think what we got to do is talk about a little gambling advice. So, Grant, as the winner, you get to pick teams. Now, because I think we're doing more of a Bettor Advice, giving picks today, I don't know if that really applies. So it's a hollow, empty victory that you won in Puck Doku today.
I will take whatever hollow victories I can get. I have a few picks lined up Saturday. I always got a whole shitload ready to fire. So I'm going Bettor Advice style, ready to roll with a few picks. You know what? I'm going to save the best for last.
All right, cool.
Seattle. Let's start with Seattle. Seattle Kraken. No, you know what? Actually, I'm not going to praise the Seattle Kraken. I'd rather take this opportunity to shit on another non-Canadian team, and that is the Tampa Bay Lightning. They have outlasted their metrics, and for many years, this team, they've got a ton of skill players, and when you have elite finishers, elite defending, elite goaltending, you don't necessarily have to beat your opponents on both ends of the ice. You can just make the most of the opportunities as presented and rely on your goaltending and get you where you need to be. Vasilevsky returning has not been the solution to this team's problems because they are still a poor analytics team and their aging superstars are not as effective as they used to be. That's what we're seeing crumbling underneath the Lightning this year. And Vasilevsky, I don't know if they're trying to... I don't know if he came back too soon. I don't know if they're asking him to do too much. But it's just not working. Seattle plus money underdogs on home ice. They've been playing good hockey lately. The Bolts just continue to fucking flounder. I'm going Seattle Kraken. The price actually just came down. It was plus 105. I'll play it at plus 102 still. $30 to win $30.60.
$30 to win $30.60. Cool. Awesome. I think I'll take one Saturday night game based on my list. Yeah, let's just take straight up games. And approximately on the season, so Bettor Advice, our segment we used to do Saturday mornings before we tried to expand into the weekdays, where we would take 100 theoretical dollars, gamble it each and every week and keep tabs on the results. I believe I'm down. I think I hit some money right before I went on my trip back in like end of October, and I'm around minus 30 on the season. I think Grant was up some plus money. I don't know if you have like that, an estimate of where you're at.
I think I had a pretty good start to the season. I knew I was up a little bit. I want to say maybe a couple $100. I could go back and listen to the tapes though.
Okay, cool. So up in the air. So for myself, I think just based on the team that we were just talking about, I feel like the Carolina Hurricanes are a good hockey team. Rob Brind'Amour keeps a tight ship. You're on a 3-game losing streak on a road trip, end of the road trip. I think I don't know if the Canucks are as good as they are. I will take the Hurricanes minus 128, and I'm going to put $30 on that. So
cool.
And
so I've waffled, and I'm going to share what I just did because I'm hopeful that it will yield more money for all of us at the end of the night. I was thinking that it was going to be a low-scoring affair between the Preds and Maple Leafs, and that under 6.5 was priced at plus 104. As mentioned, though, I think I've seen this team, the Maple Leafs, that is, analytics metrics erode, and I don't think that with worse metrics you can get the most of a Preds goalie, UC Saros, who's just been playing lights-out hockey over his recent sample. This isn't a bet on the Predators. This is a bet on UC Saros and maybe a little bit against the Maple Leafs goaltending woes. Nashville Predators, this is an emotional hedge. I'm stealing probably one of Mick's plays here, but $30 to win $42 tonight. First game on Hockey Night in Canada.
That is the perk of winning puck dokus. You get to steal. So all right, so Nashville, and you said 30?
$30 to win 42.
All right, to win 42. Yeah, I like that. That's a good play. For myself, I'm going to go with my second pick. I'm going to look into tomorrow's slate, and if we're slandering our favorite teams here, I'm just going to do it. I think that the Oilers are on a bit of a win streak. I don't know how sustainable that is. I'm seeing plus money. You get plus 128 if you take the Devils. I didn't realize that they're playing the Flames today. But, like, this trend of teams losing to Calgary and Edmonton back-to-back is probably got to stop. So maybe we see the Flames lose today and then the Oilers win tomorrow. But I don't hate... I think there's some good talent with the Devils. There were a lot of people's picks earlier on in the season. They have a chance. I think the Oilers could stumble. And for some plus money, I'm going to take the Devils. Plus 128. And let's do $30.
Cool. I don't hate that pick either. I don't know if I've shared, this is a bit of a square thing, but I will share it anyways. The rule of sixes, things just kind of seem to come and go in sixes. So anyways, Oilers at the end of a 6-game win streak, I would not be surprised, especially an afternoon contest on Sunday. You know, boys are probably going to be eating donair till 4 a.m. on White Ave. Wouldn't be surprised if the Devils just steamroll them. And they have the type of shooters who are going to make Stuart Skinner just regret ever agreeing to play with the Oilers. But anyways, I guess I got one more pick on top of this. But another pick, 60-minute money line play. You know it's Saturday. You know I love shootouts. Philadelphia Flyers at Colorado Avalanche. I say this just about every week, frequently. Every once in a while, a game just goes to overtime, and you're like, what in the actual fuck? Like, how did these teams get to overtime? Mm-hmm. And I think it's going to be the Flyers Avalanche tonight. Both teams play a stifling brand of defensive hockey, and I think that's going to contribute to this one spilling into overtime. Flyers are limiting opponents to 6.7 high-danger chances per game over the last 7 games. That's roughly, that's actually a little bit lower than what we see from the Avalanche, or 7.7 on the season. So I'm assuming a lot of this game is going to be played in the neutral zone. Defense is going to be a big part of it. Goaltending is going to be a big part of it. And scoring is going to be hard to come by. Consequently, I think this one spills into overtime. Plus 370, $30 to win 111.
370, 30 to equal 111. Cool. All right. And for my final pick, I'm going to take the streaking Kings. So if we look at tomorrow's affairs, Sunday, I believe the LA Kings are on the road. They're visiting the New York Rangers. They're on something like, they've started the season 11-0 on the road. First team in NHL history to just be undefeated that long on the road, right? Does it carry on? I think they probably hit a team that's playing a little bit better brand of hockey with the Rangers at home. It's Sunday afternoon. I don't know why they keep burying the Kings in this spot. Like even last week we were talking about that. It was the Kings. Was it Kings Knights? Kings Avs. Sunday night affair late. I don't know why they kind of bury those things kind of like later. Maybe there's like some type of marquee matchup or something, or some type of like marquee game that they're trying to promote. But I like that as kind of like two heavyweight sluggers going at it. And I don't think the price was terrible. What did I see? Minus 147 for the Rangers at home. I'll put $40 on that guy, and that's my final play.
Well, I'm gonna borrow some words from Meatloaf here, and you took the words right out of my mouth. Just as I was about to kiss you, Mick. I had that game lined up in my sights. I was like, I'm going to add this for my final victory win, and I was thinking it was going to go to overtime. Okay. But I don't get to do that anymore, so I'm going to pivot quickly.
Well, you could take the same game if that's your
okay.
fancy. If you want another one, I would take the Jets over. If you want kind of an easier play, I like the Jets over the Ducks. I feel like the Ducks have screwed me on a lot of parlays recently, and fuck them. So I want to see Kyle Connor put his foot on their throat and just stomp it.
That's okay. I got one of my classic plays picked up. Okay. You know this. I talk about it all the time. Second night of a back-to-back. St. Louis is playing the lowly Chicago Blackhawks. This game, and also Blackhawks have been to overtime, I think, in 3 of their last 4 or 2 of their last 3 home games. So we're starting to see a theme emerge in the Blackhawks overtime as well. I think waves collide in this one, and I'm adding this. That is St. Louis Blues and Chicago Blackhawks to go to overtime or a shootout. It's plus 350. So rather than, I got $10 left, rather than just putting $10 on this, I'm parlaying that with my 3 other picks. $10 to win 1,015.
Parlay. So $10 to win 1,015?
1,015. Right. 1015.
Sweet. All right. Well, that's some big cash money right there. So, and in the fair, where Grant's up something ish. I'll go ish. A couple $100. Couple hundred. All right. Well, good luck to you. Last week in our straight up picks, I think I was perfect. I was 3-0. Grant, you went.
I don't think I got one right.
Yeah, I don't know who you had in the Avs Kings game. I didn't get that one recorded, so retrospectively, you could pick that game.
I'd still get it wrong.
Yeah.
I think I went Kings.
Was it the Kings that won? I don't know. We have to go back to the tape and check. That was last Sunday, right? Yeah, Kings won. Okay, cool. So you went 1-4. So 4-4 on the year. I'm 4-2 in our pick series. So just as a quick recap for that.
You know, this is kind of very on point for the NHL branding, where we've just got a whole bunch of to know an outdoor game, you need to know the series, and then you have to know the derivative of this series. Are you a Stadium Series guy? Are you Winter Classic?
Well, that's
guy?
it. You see Canada Puck pop up on the Saturday. Okay, well, they didn't record a show during the week, so that when we're doing Bettor Advice, we have to go to those standings. But then our pick series, it happens during the week. Sometimes it's just we do nice work. So NHL.com, if you ever need a marketing team, we're here.
Yeah, if you'd like to add to your frenzy of just nonsense, guess what? We embody that week to week. We don't even know if we're going to record some week, so guess what? Get what you get.
Speaking of that, we're probably back next week. Maybe the week after that. And then we'll probably take a Christmas break, so 1 or 2 more shows for Christmas.
Yeah, you know what? That sounds good.
Cool. Maybe we'll even do a Christmas specials. So 1 more week of hockey, maybe, if we get that far.
Yeah, but the Canada Puck Podcast would not be the Canada Puck Podcast without our Babe of the Week.
Absolutely.
I struggle. I'm not going to lie to you. I struggled. I spent more time than I probably should have trying to come up with an answer to who I think our Babe of the Week should be. I flip-flopped. Anyways, I landed on somebody who I think we can both agree is an absolute smoke show. Sarah Fillier, SarahFillier 16. She's from Toronto, Princeton 24. She graduates this year, actually. Last academic year of her career, but she's already a world and Olympic champion. Sarah Fillier, all the best to you and your Princeton Tigers as you continue your pursuit of a national championship and eventually Cougarhood. Sarah, you are a babe of the week. Schwing.
Schwing. Nice. Well done. Well done, sir. As always. Yeah, she's a bit of a babe. And as always, all my Instagram is just butts. I thank Canada Puck, so.
I was so tempted. I know that we have dedicated this babe of the week to hockey women. But, in the spirit of butts and everything that's, going on.
Bootylicious, yeah.
In the world of gyms and sports, it was really tempting to not go in another direction. And that's why I was a little disappointed in myself, because Sarah Fillier, our babe of the week, without question, there are some things we should be grateful for out there, and I wish I could share more on the podcast.
Schwing. I also realized at some point, I think we have a Canada Puck Instagram account, so why I've never pulled that up on the computer. We've creeped on them. I mean, there's probably obvious reasons that I don't do that in videos, but yeah, I've thought about it once in a while.
Just inbox left of only fan receipts, and no, I can't do that for you, Mick.
Yeah, we don't need to see those kind of disappointments in my life. So we already saw the Chris Mason, and that was enough disappointment for one day. So with that, though, that wraps up our show. We're kind of ready for a weekend of hockey. Kind of caught up with everybody. Seemed like a quiet week, though. To be honest, overall, didn't have the gravitas.
This is it. Well, World Juniors is around the corner. That's going to get us, half chub material for a little while. Then you kind of come down off a lull after that, after the holidays. But then it's like full schwing all the way back up to the playoffs from January.
I always feel like, what is it, January 1, where they have like the Heritage Classic, whatever that stupid game is called. Again, I don't understand their branding. I barely understand our branding or the NHL branding. So we're kind of on brand. But it seems like everyone's hyped and talking about it, and I'm usually too hungover to get to the television. So I always feel like I'm behind the 8 ball. So I think that's where my hype and my anticipation starts trying to catch up. So
January 1st games are known as the Winter Classic.
Sure. Okay. Cool.
But you do need a PhD in Gary Bettmanomics to know exactly what's going on.
Sweet. Okay. So without that, like I said, maybe we're back. Probably back next week, and we're talking hockey. After that, maybe we'll do a Christmas special. So,
yep.
Cool. So without that, I think we say till next week. Party on, Grant.
Party on, Mick. We'll see everybody next week.